Welcome to this video. Today I want to give some recommendations for what I think are the best options on Amazon for gaming PCs in 2018. Now please be aware that I will post all of the links down below in the notes, so make sure that you follow along down below. Now I've given recommendations for CyberPower PC on Amazon before in the past, and they just provide good pre-built computers, and so I'm going to give a recommendation for them again. I'm going to give several actually. And the first one is up here on the computer screen. Now this one is a little bit more as far as price than last year's, but there are some upgrades that make it worth that price, and you can check out the reviews right here to support that. But what you get first off is the i5-8400, which is the 8th generation i5, 6 cores, 6 threads, and it is a jump in performance over last year's 4-core, 4-thread i5. It's going to be better for AAA gaming as well as if you do casual content creation, such as video editing. This is going to give you a jump in performance because, again, 6 cores, 6 threads. Now it does come with 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM. For gaming, you want at least 16 gigs, and so as your budget allows, you will want to upgrade this to 16 gigs. Don't get me wrong, you'll be able to play games as is out of the box, but they're going to play much better with 16 gigs, and you're going to be able to do more multitasking with 16 gigs as well. So I'll post links down below in the notes as to where you can get additional RAM. Please be aware it may come with 1 stick of 8, it may come with 2 sticks of 4. It's going to vary, but either way, as your budget allows, you will want to upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM over 8. Next is the graphics card, which is the Geforce Gtx 1060 3GB card. Last year's has the AMD 580 4GB card, so this is in the same class. It's the same category of graphics card. It's not going to be a huge difference in performance. In fact, I think most people won't even notice a difference in performance between both cards. It does kind of depend on the games that you're playing, but overall, this is a good graphics card for 1080p gaming. Please be aware that this card was the prime 1080p graphics card in 2016, so now in 2018, especially with new AAA games, you may have to turn the detail level down just a little bit to achieve 60 frames per second or higher, but it's still a good graphics card. It's still relevant in 2018. Now, an additional upgrade over last year's is they added an SSD. Last year's only came with a hard drive, and yes, it's a small SSD, but it still makes a huge difference in performance because this is your boot drive. Windows is installed on this SSD, which means the entire computer is going to boot up faster, it's going to respond quicker, updates will go through faster. It's just going to be an overall better experience because of that SSD that's in the computer. Your games you will install on the hard drive, but that doesn't really matter because that's not going to affect performance of the game as far as frames per second. It will affect how quickly it boots up or updates, installs, saves, stuff like that. Even loading times may be longer, but the actual frames per second is affected mostly by the CPU and GPU and also by the RAM. Now, in addition to posting links for upgrades for the RAM, I will also post links below for SSD options. Now, the one that I'm going to link down below is the Samsung 850 EVO because this is one of the best SATA drives that is available on the market. I'm going to post the one for 500 gigabytes, but if you want to go smaller, you can. I think you'll be much happier if you pay the extra money for the 500 gigs, just because games are so large and applications are getting larger that when you go smaller than 500 gigs, you're just going to notice your drive will fill up really fast. I will also post down below in the notes links for an install kit, which you will need because of the data cables and drive screws, as well as you're going to need some zip ties. So I'll link this down below as well. Now that is my first recommendation for a 1080p gaming computer. However, if you do have extra money, about $200 extra, I would come down here to the bottom and select the i7-8700. And it is currently listed as unavailable. However, if it comes back into stock in the future and you do have an extra $200, go with this one because it does come with an i7-8700, which is the best current gaming CPU available with the exception of the K chip. It's 6 cores, 12 threads, which means it's not only best for gaming, but it's also better for content creation as well. So You'll also get more longevity out of this CPU. You won't have to upgrade it as quickly. And it also comes with 16 gigs already installed, so you don't have to worry about installing extra RAM. Everything else, though, will be the same as with the previous computer. Now, I do want to mention I did purchase this computer, the i7-8700 with the GTX 1080 3GB card, and so I will be posting performance videos here in the future, so keep an eye out for that. We'll be able to see how well this GPU and CPU, as well as the computer in general, performs with different games, both current and past. Now, if you have even just a little bit more money, you can come down here and select the i7-8700K, and so this one comes to about $1,600. So it gives you the K chip, which means it's unlocked. You can overclock it, but you're not going to be able to do that with this computer as is because it just comes with a stock air cooler. So down below in the notes, I will post a link for a liquid cooler that you can install on this computer if you'd like to do so. It also comes with the GTX 1070, which in 2018, this is probably your prime 1080p graphics card. It will also play a lot of games at 1440p. It's just going to depend on the game. If it's a recent AAA title, you're probably going to have to play it at 1080p, but this will achieve 60 frames per second or higher, so it is a jump up in performance as far as the graphics card, as well as you also get a larger SSD and more hard drive space. The next recommendation I want to make is for those of you who have content creation as your top priority and gaming as your second priority. It's this computer that's up on the screen right now, and the reason why is because it comes with the AMD Ryzen 7 1700X. This is an 8-core 16-thread CPU. Those extra cores and threads are going to make all the difference when you're doing content creations. For example, video editing and rendering. It's going to be much faster, much more efficient, as well as heavy multitasking will be better on this CPU. Now, it does only come with 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM. You will want to get that to at least 16. Again, links down below in the notes. But if you're doing content creation, depending on what you're doing, you may actually need to go higher than 16. 24 to 32 may be closer to where you need to be. It's just going to depend on what you're doing. But minimum, you should have 16 in this computer. It also comes with the Amd Rx 580, which again is in the same class as the 1060. It's a great 1080p graphics card, but again, AAA titles that are coming out in 2018, you may need to turn the detail level down just a little bit. Also, it comes with just a hard drive, 1 terabyte, so no SSD. So again, down below in the notes, click on the links where you can get additional SSDs to install in this computer. You'll notice that the case is different. This is a bigger case, and so you're going to have a lot more room as far as being able to do upgrades. But if you want to install an SSD, again, links down below in the notes. The last computer I want to give a recommendation for is this one up on the screen. It's the same case as the previous computer, but different hardware. This comes with an i7-8700K, so it's the unclocked 8700, but it also includes a liquid cooler, and so you will be able to do some overclocking with this out of the box. 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, a GTX 1080 Ti. Now this, in combination with the i7-8700K, makes this a 4K gaming computer. So if you want to do 4K gaming, this is the computer that you want to buy in 2018, especially for this price. That's actually a really good price for 4K gaming. Additionally, it comes with a 240 gigabyte SSD and a 1 terabyte hard drive. If you want to go larger, there is an option for 2 terabytes down here, but it does change the case that will come with the computer, so keep that in mind. I should also mention, because this case is larger, you will be able to upgrade the liquid cooler if you wanted to get a premium 280mm liquid cooler for optimal premium overclocking for your CPU.